Lipedema is not a willpower issue. Shame is not a treatment plan. Late diagnosis does not mean late reality. It means late recognition. Your best advocate is yourself. You know more about your body than anyone else does. You know when things aren't right.
Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women navigating chronic symptoms, invisible illness, and that daily dance between hope and exhaustion. If you've ever been told it's all in your head, well, this podcast is for you because your body is not lying and neither are you. Hi, I'm Donna Piper, movement therapist, Pilates instructor, and chronic illness navigator. After years of being dismissed, misdiagnosed, and doing everything quote unquote right, but still getting sicker, I created this space to tell our truth. Here we talk about swelling, brain fog, nervous system crashes, and the kind of symptoms that don't always show up on lab results. We're going to explore lymph, breath, movement, self-trust, latest research, books, relationships, basically everything. All from a place of compassion and honesty. This isn't about fixing your body. It's about finally being heard and getting some answers.
Hey friend, running low? Me too. I'm Donna. This is Dear Body, I'm Listening. We're in it together. Hey love, welcome back to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Today, we're going to talk about lipedema. And if you've never heard the word lipedema, you're not alone. Most women haven't. And that's part of the problem. But you might recognize the experience of lipedema. Heavy legs, tender tissue, easy bruising, swelling that feels specific. And if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and things suddenly got louder, this episode is for you. Today we're talking about lipedema and perimenopause, lipedema and menopause, what those words mean, how they're different, and why symptoms can flare in midlife, and finally lead you to a diagnosis. Lipedema doesn't come on during this time. If you have lipedema, it's usually genetic and something you've had since childhood, but you've probably been undiagnosed until midlife. Real talk, no gloss, just us. Now let's dive in. Let me paint the scene. You've spent years thinking, my legs just don't match the rest of me. My upper body is smaller, my waist will fluctuate. I either gain or lose weight in my waist, my arms, same thing. My upper body seems to respond differently. My face changes to weight loss and weight gain, but my legs, they pretty much stay the same or they grow and they hurt. And not like normal hurt, it's just an undefined way to describe it. So unless you know about lipedema and talk to someone else with it, they will understand. But sometimes describing the pain and the heaviness in your legs is almost like the words really aren't there to describe it. Like your jeans might fit at the waist, you might be one size on the upper part of your body, and then your lower part of body, especially around your hips, your jeans pants kind of betray you. You really have to find a specific pant to wear. You bruise easily, you feel pain with pressure. You can also feel like if someone's grabbing your arm sometimes, or your leg, it's kind of a normal touch, but to you it feels extremely painful. And this is a way too much of a response to have like a normal reaction. And maybe you've been told, just lose weight, just move more, just accept it, it's aging. And then perimenopause shows up and your sleep gets weird, your cycle gets weird, your mood gets, let's say, honest. And suddenly your legs feel heavier, swelling shows up faster, pain feels sharper, and you think, okay, what is happening? Here's a truth that changes everything. Most people don't get diagnosed with lipedema until perimenopause or menopause. Not because lipedema begins then, but because this stage often turns up the volume. And because this is when women finally realize this just isn't weight, this is a pattern, this is pain, this is different. And if you're hearing this and thinking, wait, this might be me, stay with me. This is not about labeling you. It's about helping you recognize yourself without shame. Now it's time for the connective thread, where the story meets the science. So today's connective thread is about lipedema, perimenopause, and menopause. And let's define first the hormone stages. Because clarity is calming and perimenopause is the transition phase before menopause. It can start in your late 30s or 40s, sometimes earlier. And perimenopause can last for a really long time or a short time. So that depends. But what we do know, it's estrogen during perimenopause doesn't just decline, it fluctuates up, down, sideways, like a DJ who refuses to take requests. And ovulation can get inconsistent, which means progesterone can drop earlier or show up unevenly. So symptoms can feel unpredictable. Some months you're fine, some months you're sweaty at 2 a.m., wide awake. But no, during this time, your labs can totally show up normal. Your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone can look just fine within normal ranges. Myself, I went to many doctors, including functional doctors, my regular insurance doctors, etc. And every time they told me my labs were just fine. And that is also part of lipedema. Most of the time, you'll have all these complaints and issues, and you go into your doctor and they just look at your labs and say, well, it doesn't match what you're saying, so you just might be making it up. But I'm here to tell you, you're not making it up. That's one of the parts of lipedema is that your labs can look different than what your body is doing and the reality of what your body is going through. So now let's move on to menopause. So menopause is a point in time. Menopause is confirmed after 12 full months without a period. After that, you're postmenopausal, and this is your new baseline. So the quick difference is perimenopause equals hormone fluctuation, and menopause, postmenopause equals a new baseline. Now, lipedema. Lipedema is a connective tissue disorder and a chronic adipose tissue disorder that mostly affects women. And it often shows up as symmetrical fat accumulation in legs or the arms. You usually start somewhere like your lower body looks different than your upper body. Your arms, even if you work out a ton or even with your legs, you can't see the muscle definition. And you'll have some pain or tenderness in the tissue. You may bruise more easily. You could have like more of a heavy aching feeling in your legs and your limbs that are affected by the lipedema. And swelling can worsen over the day. And a common experience is this. Your upper body responds to typical weight changes, but your legs don't follow the same rules. Or anywhere in your body that has lipedema tissue does not respond the same. So you might lose weight all over, and if it's in your arms don't change, or vice versa with your legs or your calves, or all three. Now, what does this mean? It doesn't mean that you're failing. You haven't done anything wrong. Your tissue is different. The connective tissue that you have and the adipose tissue and how your lymphatic system works. So there's lots of components into this. So it's not the easiest to just describe ABC. You have it. Many symptoms come into this, and the symptoms that I'm describing are most typical, but you may have something that is atypical, or you may not have everything to this degree, but still have lipedema. So let's talk estrogen. Research increasingly points to a hormonal connection involving estrogen and lipedema because lipedema often appears or worsens during hormonal shifts, puberty, pregnancy, and the perimenopause, menopause transition. Here's the simple version. Estrogen influences fat distribution. Estrogen influences inflammation. Estrogen influences blood vessels. And estrogen influences lymphatic flow. So when hormones shift, fluid balance and inflammation can shift too. And here's where the newer lipedema research gets interesting. Some scientific views propose that lipedema tissue may have altered estrogen signaling through estrogen receptors in fat tissue and possibly local estrogen activity, meaning your lipedema tissue may hear estrogen signals in a way that nudges fat storage, tenderness, and inflammation changes. When perimenopause arrives and your hormones start swinging, those swings can mean more fluid shifts, more swelling sensitivity, more pain sensitivity, more temperature dysregulation, and more sleep disruption. So lipedema symptoms can become more noticeable, not because you did something wrong, but because your internal environment has changed. Then menopause arrives and systematic estrogen drops. And one newer model suggests menopause can act like a turning point in lipedema progression through an estrogen receptor imbalance concept, internecine estrogen ideas, and broader adipose tissue dysfunction pathways. Translation: for some women, this is a stage where symptoms intensify, and intensity forces attention. This is why diagnoses often land here, not because it started here, but because it finally got loud enough to be seen. So here's the part you can use today. If you're listening and wondering, could this be me? Here are some recognition clues. Disproportion. Legs or arms feel out of proportion to the rest of your body. 2, pain and tenderness. Tissue hurts with pressure or touch. 3, easy bruising. 4, symmetry. Both legs are affected in a similar way, or both arms are affected in a similar way. 5, hormone timing. You notice flares with puberty, pregnancy, or perimenopause, menopause symptoms. 6, the mismatch. This is a usual advice that doesn't match your results. Also, pain. You might have trouble doing simple things like walking, or if you were a runner or a hiker, you might not be able to do that anymore. So look for things for mobility issues specifically that have changed without any rhyme or reason, maybe just due to more swelling or more bulking in the legs or the arms. Now, try some gentle supports. No boot camp energy, no shame, because pushing more, there is a cycle that I've said in other episodes that when you push too much, then your body, cortisol and your thyroid are also part of your hormone system. So they're the same. We usually talk about hormones as progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, but you have a lot of different hormones. So when your body is off and you're swelling more and things are fluctuating, then more intensity doesn't always help what your body is going through. It actually sometimes can make it worse or the symptoms to appear more significant. So try this: cooling and calming first, especially if heat makes swelling worse. Try 5 minutes of leg elevation when you can, and try some micro movements like ankle pumps, foot presses, and a short walk if tolerated. Lymph is like rhythm, it's not punishment. So you want to get into a rhythm. You want to get blood flowing and you want to move, but you don't want to move so much that it starts to make all of the other symptoms you have worsen. And if you want diagnosis support, try language like, I have painful tender fat in my legs. I bruise easily. This is symmetrical. I've noticed since I'm having hormonal changes, even though may not see them in my labs, I know that I have all the other symptoms and list the symptoms of perimenopause that you're having. And then you've also noted that your legs or your arms have gotten larger in a shorter amount of time. And ask, could this be lipedema? And then you probably are wondering who diagnoses it. So the best thing to do is go to the Lipedema Foundation, and they will give you resources about what lipedema is. They have pamphlets that are free, so you could show your doctors. There's lots of support groups that you can find through this organization. And you can also find a map of doctors. So there's not a lot of doctors that diagnose it now, unfortunately, but our hope is in the future when doctors even learn more about this condition, then there'll be more providers that can diagnose you. Right now, unfortunately, you have to be your own advocate and you have to educate your doctors. And fortunately, there's a lot more research out there. There is a lot more support out there that you can get information to help bolster your presentation for your doctors so then they can refer you if they can't diagnose you. Because your PCP can diagnose you, but usually no doctors want to diagnose anything they don't know anything about. So they will look for referrals, and there's lots of community support. And if you can find a lipedema group in your area, then they'll usually be the best references about what doctors they've seen to get a diagnosis.
Mythbuster. Less hype, more help.
So let's gently question the scripts you've been given. Myth: it's just menopause weight gain. Truth: menopause can shift weight and body composition, yes, but lipedema often includes pain, mobility issues, bruising, and a distinct body pattern, specifically in lower body or in the arms. Myth: if you tried harder, it would go away. Truth, lipedema is not a willpower issue. Shame is not a treatment plan. Myth, perimenopause and menopause are the same thing. Truth, perimenopause is the fluctuating lead up. Menopause is the 12-month marker. Different seasons, different support. Myth, if you were diagnosed young, you wouldn't have it. Truth, many women have symptoms for years and get diagnosed later, often during the perimenopause or menopause phase, because that's when the pattern becomes undeniable. Late diagnosis does not mean late reality. It means late recognition. Feel good flow time, micro moves, macro reliefs. Let's breathe together. So today, let's do a little micro move and macro relief. Just breathe with me. Choose to be seated or lying down. Just make sure you're not operating any equipment, driving, anything like that. And then when you're ready, soften your jaw, drop your shoulders. Inhale through your nose, easy. Exhale through pierced lips, slow, like you're cooling soup. Again, inhale, long exhale. And now add tiny ankle circles, coin-sized circles, slow, both at the same time or one at a time. And even if you can't move today, like doing circles would be too much, imagine the circles in your brain. Even if your ankles aren't moving, just think of them moving inside your mind's eye, and your brain still sends the signal. Then one more breath in and out. And then with your next inhale, add the words, I'm listening. And with the exhale, add the words, I'm not failing. Then pause. Then notice what's shifted. Any shift counts. This is shared education and lived experience, not medical advice, and is not meant to be. Check in with your body, check in with your clinician, and find out what fits your life. So thank you for listening to this episode today. If anything resonated with you, even just a tiny bit, please share this episode with someone that you think may have lipedema or could find any help from listening from this episode. And if you're in perimenopause or menopause, thinking, oh, this just might be me, just remember to start finding some supports via either educational or groups to learn about what's going on with your body. Because even if you don't have lipedema and you're having some of these similar issues and your doctors aren't listening to you, it's important to not give up, to really be your own advocate, look at different research, find different groups, educate your doctor on really what's happening. And even if you end up not having lipedema, which this is a very difficult disease to have. So I hope you do not have it. But I do want you to get the support that you need and have your doctors listen to you, because you know more about your body than anyone else does. You know when things aren't right. We go to our doctors because they're trained in different things in these illnesses and diseases, and we hope they have the answers. But the truth is, a lot of times they don't. So your best advocate is yourself. And the more you learn about what's going on with your body and the different symptoms, and you can say it in a way that your doctor may not understand, but can agree with you, but understands the biological issues that are happening, maybe they could start to refer you to someone else. So remember, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just been navigating a body that hasn't been understood by the medical world yet. Until next time. You've been listening to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Now it's time to remember to be gentle with your capacity, meet yourself where you are, and if this has helped, send it to a friend who also needs a soft reminder and a gentle place to land.
If this episode made you feel even more seen, brought you clarity, or reminded you that you're not alone, please take a moment to rate, review, and send it to someone who needs that same reminder. You can find more tools, blog posts, and support over at donnapiper.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a question for me? Every month I do a listener coaching episode, and I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, stories, or flare-up confessions to Donna@DonnaPiper.com. And you just might hear your answer on the show. Until next time, dear body, I'm listening, and I am so glad that you are here.